In this video, we are going to build a technical documentation page. It's a responsive web design project from Freecodecamp. Welcome to TC. Our challenge, which is given to us by Freecodecamp, is to build a documentation page. Something right over here, you can see the documentation. Everything will be lined onto your left. The navigation is on your left. All the content will be on your right side. So without further ado, we are going to build this page. So let's look at the challenge which is given to us. We have about looking at 15 user stories all the way. Take a minute to read the entire user stories just to get an idea of what the challenge is actually about. Once you finish reading, scroll all the way down and you will see user story number 15. Click this, use this CodePen template. If you don't know what a user story is, just go upstairs, like all the way up over here, and click on this link, and it should give you the answers which you're looking for. What I did is I actually created a template from this CodePen over here, and I already named it, and I'm going to bring this one down. Once you finish reading this, you can delete this. And JavaScript, we are not going to use any JavaScript. We're just going to use simple HTML and CSS to create this document. I'm going to close this one out, close this one. Couple of things before I jump into, I'm using the Bootstrap Navigation right over here. I'm also using the nav. I'm going to import some fonts, which is the Roboto fonts. And the documentation which I got is actually the GitHub documentation. If you go over here, you can do entire list. But I kind of trimmed it down very little bit. So before further ado, I'm going to copy this link from here. Go back to the CodePen, paste it over here. I'm actually going to increase the size. It's too small. All right, so I'm actually zoomed in at 133, and I'm going to import some CSS style, Roboto. Import this into our CodePen. Actually, that's completely wrong. It should be body. Inside the body, you're supposed to paste it over here. Now, save this. I'm going to give a background color of black, and color is going to be white. Save this document. Let's go down. And now I'm going to do is I'm going to get some navigation. Just scroll down. No, I don't need this. I don't need the navigation with text. Yeah, I think we can use this one. Just copy this. Come to this page. Right below where you see your link tag, right over there, just paste the navigation. And I'm going to close this JavaScript. I'm going to bring all the way over here. Before we jump into, I'm going to trim the entire document down so that we get a better understanding of what is going on. So first things first, I'm going to delete this nav-bar expand large. We are not going to do any expand. After that, we're going to remove the BG light, which is the background light. We don't need that. And we're going to delete this anchor tag. We don't need that as well. And I'm also going to remove this button. We will not need this. And what else? We will not need this collapse classes. So we can get rid of the collapse. We are not going to collapse anything. So delete. And Mr. Auto, you can delete Mr. Auto as well. Active, I'm going to remove the active. Span tag, you're going to remove the span tag. we're going to remove this span tag as well. Anything else we can delete off from here? No, that's pretty good. Oh, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the entire elements into a div class. So I'm going to do div tab. I'm going to give a class of container fluid, and I'm going to copy this, paste it over here. All right, save it. All right, let's go and have a look at our user stories. All right, so scroll up. I can see a main element with corresponding ID, a main doc which contains page, main content, and technical documentation. Okay, so after this nav, we're going to do a main doc, and sorry, it has an ID. Copy this ID, go back to your documentation and just paste it so that we are not making any mistakes by typing. So we're just going to do it manually. So let's go have a look at the next user story. Within the main doc element, I can see several section elements, each with the main section of class. There should be minimum of 5. You can do minimum of 5 or more. For this video, I'm just going to do 2 for now. And all the way at the end, I'm going to add more section classes. So I'm going to do section, and I'm going to do one more. Okay, and it requires a class, main doc section, a class. So copy this, go back to your documentation page, create a class, paste this, create a class, paste this, save it. All right, go back to our user story number 3. The first element within each main section should be a header element which contains the text that describes the topic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write a header, and I'm going to call this as introduction. For each section element with the class of main section, should also have an ID that corresponds with the text of each header contained within. Any space should be replaced with underscores. So what it actually means is, now we have this introduction to get right. So we need to create the exact same ID, but that ID will be inside this section element. So ID, just so that we're not making any typo, just copy this, paste it over here. Instead of blank spaces, we're going to add underscore. That is what exactly they want. And I'm going to give the section 2, call it as repository. I'm going to give an ID, same exact ID. Just name it the same way you have the header. I believe it should be inside a header. So I'm going to do header, tab, sorry, cut this one out and paste it over here. Save this. All right, let's look at our next user story. I believe it is user story number 5. The main section should have contained at least 10 elements, total of that. Okay, we will do more than 10 elements, but the actual meaning is not each, but in a section you can have like 2, 3, 4, but the entire documentation should have at least 10 P elements, which is your paragraph elements. Okay, Let's go have a look. Let me see if I can copy something and paste it in over here to get some P elements. It's actually a GIT documentation, so you can do any documentation. It doesn't have to be the same as I'm using. So let's go paste it over here. Just save this. Okay, and let's go back up. Have a look at the next user story. Okay, the main section element should contain at least 5 code elements. So what is actually the code elements which they are looking for is you wanted to wrap the code. I can show you what it is. So why don't we just create another p tag inside this. I'm going to say p element, not a p tag, p element. I'm going to copy some text and paste it over here. And at the same time, right after this, I'm going to do a code element. Inside that, I'm going to copy, let's say we wanted to add a link, for example. I'm just going to paste that, save it. If you wanted to come and have a look, it comes up like this. Why it's not working? Because we haven't given any Bootstrap styles. So I'm going to do is go to settings, go to CSS. Let's see, Bootstrap, save and close. Let's see if anything changes. There you go. The color automatically changes because Bootstrap automatically adds styles to code element, not a tag. I'm sorry, code element. All right, let's save this, and we will go back and look at our next user story, which is going to be number 7. Okay, the main section element should contain at least 5 list items. In order to do a list items, first you need to create a unordered list. So why don't we go ahead and create some unordered list. So let's say after this code, we can add some more text, say right after this, and inside right after this p tag, I'm going to do another p tag. I'm going to add some more text right over here. I'm going to, let's see, give a unordered list. Inside that unordered list, I'm going to write li, and the code is going to be run. And this will also be wrapped inside a code, which is going to be get it verify. Oh, actually, this is not the way to do it. So, and code with closing tag. So that's your first tag. I'm going to, you can do minimum of 5. So I'm just going to go to 1 list element, which is good. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to add some more. So right after this paragraph, actually right over here, I added few more list items. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 over here, and you got 2 all the way on the top. I'm going to save this. Now let's go back and have a look at our next user stories. So let's see, we did list. I can see a nav element with a corresponding ID nav-bar. So the nav-bar, all you have to do is go back to your documentation page, scroll all the way up, and inside the nav element, after this, it should be nav-bar like, remove the extra space. ID is equals to nav-bar. Save this. Go back. All right, so what else is there? The nav-bar element should contain one header element. Next describes the topic of the technical documentation page. Okay, so go back to your documentation page, and right under this, we're going to create another header, and we're going to name this as GIT Documentation, and I'm going to give a class which is not required, but I'm going to give this for styling later. I'm going to call this as intro. Save this. I'm going to change this from navbar nav, a navbar text, to navbar nav, and I'm also going to save this, and I'm going to change features, say home. I'm going to remove pricing. I'm going to call this as home for now. Save this. All right, go back to your documentation and look at it. ID, and let's do user story number 9. Okay, what is user story number 9? The navbar element should contain one header element. Oh, we already did that. Sorry. We're going to do user story number 10. Additionally, the navbar should contain a link element with a class of nav-links. Okay. Go back to your documentation page. If you look at it, when we copy the Bootstrap, automatically the Bootstrap adds this nav-link. So we don't have to add additional links. It is already there for you. Okay, so let's go back. Let's look at user story number 11. The header element in the navbar must come before any link anchor tags. Up, our header is way above. Our anchor tags are right over here on, say, line. So our header is all the way up, so don't worry about it. Alright, what's our next user story? User story number 12. Each element with a nav link should contain text that corresponds to the header. Example, if you have hello world section and header, your navbar should have the element which corresponds to the text header. Okay, we are going to fix that. Alright, if we go have a look, it says home, and home right now. But if you look at our sections, we have this introduction to GIT. So we're going to copy this. Go where it says href after this hash, paste it, and we're going to name this as the same way, introduction to GIT. We're going to remove this underscore. I'm going to remove this underscore so that it matches exactly the way they want it. And I'm going to do the same for repository. So copy this repository, scroll back up. I'm going to add it right after this hash, and I'm going to replace home with another repository. Save this, and if we go have a look, I'm going to leave the way the home is. What does it say? Okay. Commit to it, and this is going to be commit to it. Right. Let's save this. Alright, let's go back and have a look at our next view. So I'm going to do HR, and I'm also going to do another horizontal line for this section as well. Save this. I'm going to grab some text, paste it. All right, I'm going to minimize the section just for visibility, so it has the same ID and the same header. Okay, save this, let's scroll down and to see if our navigation actually works. Okay, we cannot see what is going on over here because all the text is, we need to do some styling. This is way off. So let's do some styles, add some styles. Okay, I'm gonna do target navigation bar, which is the nav bar over here. I'm gonna do nav bar like nav bar, nav, and the nav link. Gonna add some, say, color F. Save this. Right, let's see where. Okay, we have get introduction. It's when I hover, you have the functionality. Just to understand where our navigation is, I'm going to add some colors to it. Let's see, what color should I use? I'm going to target the ID nav bar. Background color DOD Dodger blue. Okay, this is where our navigation is, and this is our content. Now if we go back and have a look, it says on user story number 13, when I click on hello world, it takes me to that hello world section. All right, let's click on repository to see if it takes us to repository. Click. All right, there you go. It jumped automatically to our repository. Right now, we haven't added any styles to it. So we're going to go up, click intro. It takes you to the intro page. Okay, the links are working, but we need to add some more styles to it. All right, let's do that. So we're going to give some height to our navbar. Currently, it's pretty long and big. We're going to make it 200 pixel. All right, we're going to do some overflow, which is overflowing into the next div. We're going to hide the overflow. And I'm going to add some color, let's say 2A, 2F, 3-4, and let's see what color it comes up. It should be light gray. All right, right over here. And I'm going to give some width to this, 300 pixel. And I'm going to do height again at 75%. I'm not going to do all the way 100%. I'm just going to reduce it to 75. And I'm also going to add some border to the left radius. And it's going to be not a sharp pointy edges, but it's going to be a curve. And it's going to be right side. And the radius going to be 10 pixel, and save. What it does is, if you go have a look, we gave our borders onto the left, radius onto the right, and this is our intro. We're going to do more styles to it, and I'm going to add more text to it. Currently, this will be it. And we're going to target our intro. Currently, our intro is for this header, which says GIT Documentation. Let's say intro, I'm going to give some font size. Usually I like to give like 2 EM, but I'm going to reduce that to 1.75 EM, which is less than 32 pixel. And I'm going to make it bold by giving font weight as going to be bold. I'm going to center the text. Currently it is to the left. I'm going to center this by adding a margin. Top and bottom will be going to 0. Left and right is going to be auto. Save it. It should center. As you can see, automatically the GIT documentation got centered. Now, what else are we going to target? We're going to do some styles to this anchor tag, which is over here for GIT introduction, GIT, and all that. I'm going to remove any text decoration if a default styles does apply. We don't want any default styles. So I'm going to do text decoration to none, color to white, font size I'm going to do 1.15 EM. Just want to iterate that I'm actually zoomed in at 133%. You may want to change your font size later, adjust it the way you want it. Just for this video, I zoomed in at 133. And what else can we do? Let's target our main document. Currently, our main document is to the bottom. We want to bring our main document to the right side, and your menu bar will be on the left side. In order to do it, what we're going to do is let's look at our main doc, which we have a class ID over here which says main doc. Main doc. I'm going to not docu but doc. I'm going to give a position absolute, and I'm going to give a margin 2%, right 10, bottom 0, 25% left. So it's going to be top, right, bottom, left. And I'm also going to add some padding so that they are not bumping into each other. Go save it. Okay. This looks a lot of white space over here. That's because we are zoomed in, and let's look at the full page. All right. We're going to adjust some styles, and where are we? We're going to add some styles to our header elements, which is these guys over here, which is repository, and we have one more header over here which says introduction to Git. I'm going to do, say, main doc, which wants to header, because I don't want to get confused with these headers with the header all the way up over here. Okay, so that's why I'm targeting with the main doc and the header. I'm going to say text align. We want everything to the left. I'm going to make the font size to be 2 EM. All right. And I'm also going to target the section with a margin top 15 pixel. All right. Let's see if we got any changes. Yes. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add some styles to this code. Currently, it's like dark pink. I'm going to change that pink color to a different color, which looks much better. So we're going to change that to code. I'm going to add some background color and call it F25D12, and I'm going to give a color of white. I'm going to do a border radius of 3 pixel, padding 2 pixel, left and right, top, bottom, right, left, margin all the way left, right, all 4 sides, 2 pixel, font size 1.2 EM. Save this. Go back. Let's see. Looks much better for us. And let's see. What else can we do? I can change the style of these nav links as well. Gonna target this nav link. Left is going to be 0 pixel. I'm going to make this position as relative. I'm going to add some animation later, so that's why I'm going to do transition all 2 seconds. I'm going to make sure it works on all browsers, so I'm going to do transition all 2 seconds. All right, what else can we do? Go back to your responsive scene. All right, on regular size devices, laptops and desktop, the element with ID nav-bar should be on the left side of the screen, always visible to the user. In order to make our nav-bar visible to the user, what you need to do is we need to add a style. So if you go have a look at your navigation, and actually inside the navigation you will see nav. So click on that. In order to position styles like horizontal, you can center it. What we're going to do is we're going to do vertical, and we're going to make this as flex as a column. So copy this, flex column, and the way we're going to get this, go to your documentation page, in the list items, we're going to give flex column, save this, and we need to make sure it stays all the way on the top. So go back to your nav. After navbar, right over here, I'm going to make this as fixed top. Save this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more links and list items. Currently, we have very few list items. I think we have like 3. So I'm going to add some more. Save this. Okay, have a look at this. So we have a few sections available. Now, if we click on repository, it takes you to the repository. If I click back on introduction to Git, it takes you back to the introduction to Git. Your navigation stays fixed. That's the exact user story you want. It's not moving anywhere. And your section on your right side is actually changing the way we want. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to add some styles to this documentation. On the left, we want animation. So I'm going to target nav-link. However, also, I'm going to make sure this navigation works on the mobile. I'm going to use, I already have the styles created, so I'm just going to copy and paste it over here for you guys. Okay, save this. Inside our main doc, added any footer. So I'm going to do a footer. Let's say H6 coded by Travers, and create. Copyright would be absent. Copy semicolon year 2022. Save this, and I'm going to give some styles to this footer. Let's say I want to text align it to the center, and I'm going to give a color of 666. Close, save, have a look. Scroll down. If you see over here, coded by Travis and Gear and the year. Okay, now most of your documentation has completed, but we still need to add some more. Say, make sure you have enough list items. If you don't, create some more in your whatever documentation, API documentation you're using. There will be, I bet you there will be more than 5 list items. Fill those out. And at the same time, make sure your code, you have at least 5 codes available. I mean, code elements available, not codes. And at the same time, you have at least minimum of 10 paragraph tags available, paragraph elements available. And if you can complete all those and copy them, or if you already created it, paste my sections over here. I'm gonna save this. Scroll up. As you can see, I have my animation works. When I hover over here, as you can see, commit, it changes. It brings the text to the right. I have background color of blue, and the text stays the way it is, and it has the hover effect. Okay. Now, I believe we need to add some CSS style. Anything left? My technical documentation page should use at least one media query. Okay. Bring this down. Look at the footer. Media queries. Let's do media only screen, and I'm going to select a maxed width of typos. Let's say 768 pixel, right? You can actually select whatever size you want, but my recommendation would be start with either 468 pixel or 768 pixel. Don't do 1024 because it won't look good on mobile. So do those, and we're going to target the navbar. Why? Because let's have a look. This one gives you pretty much close to a iPhone size. It could be iPhone like XR, X. So we're going to add some styles to this. So I'm going to change the layout back to where it was. I'm going to pull this one down. I'm going to target the navigation first. I'm going to do padding 0, margin 0. I'm going to make the width as 100%, and I'm going to do, say, max width. Let's say 279 pixel, smaller than the original. I'm going to give a border as none. I don't want any borders. I'm going to have a Z index to 1. Border bottom 2 pixel. Solid, and I'm going to target the main doc. Oh, sorry, it should be hash main doc. I'm gonna make it width 100%, margin, let's say 70%, 10%, 0, 1, save. Let's save this. I'm going to make this a full page view. Gonna inspect, change this to, all right, this doesn't look good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this style. Let's go back up and see why. I think I made a mistake somewhere over here. Oh yeah, see, this shouldn't be width, max width. This should be height. Let's save this. I'm going to close this for a second. I'm going to go back and have a look at the full width, inspect. All right, let's do mobile one more time. Okay, this looks much better now compared to what it was. Introduction, repository, and everything will be stays at the top, and you have the Git intro, and if you scroll all the way down, you should see. Let's remove this. I'm going to close the styles, and I added more content to it, so your code looks good. We have list items. All these are inside a paragraph tags. I'm going to quickly show you. I've got created more paragraph. I created more headers. Paragraph 1 over here. I created another paragraph. So this is more than 5 for us. So save this. All right, let's look to see if we passed all our user stories. All right, select the technical documentation page and run the test. Oh, look at this. We passed all our 16. This is a pretty simple and easy challenge, which is not very difficult. And if you haven't passed your test, click on this passed over here. Go through each one of them to see what they actually want. Mind you, this one, number 4, is very crucial. Most of the time, we end up making a mistake. Why? Because your anchor tag, which is the href right over here, should match to your ID, which your section ID. And not only that, it also should match your header element without the underscore. You should leave space in between. Your uppercase, lowercase, they all matter in order to pass that one. If you can fix that, you're good to go. And what we're going to do is, if we quickly look back up, go to your response to design projects. The last project is left is a personal portfolio webpage. This challenge will be covered in the next video. Until then, happy coding. Thank you.